Number 6, typing practice. Part A, pick a font size, record which fraction is larger. Well, let's determine which fraction is larger first. So look at the pictures. We have a pentagon here, 5-sided figure. We have a pentagon over here, and these pentagons are the same size. I hope that you can tell by looking at this picture that the blue shaded region is larger than this blue shaded region. This blue shaded region represents 2/5, and this blue shaded region represents 2/10. So 2/5 is larger because there's a larger shaded region. So I'm going to go over to the typing tool, and it says to choose a font size. So I go up to where it shows the thickness, and this thickness, which controls the thickness of a line, also affects the size of your font. So I'm going to choose the smallest size font, and then I'm going to start typing that 2/5 is larger than 2/10. Now that ended up being very tiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this select tool, and I'm going to select the object that I just typed, and then I'm going to pull at the corner to make this larger so that I can see this a little bit better. Then it says, choose a different color font size. Explain how you know that one fraction is larger than the other. So before I start typing, I want to talk about this a little bit more. So I'm going to go to the scribble tool, and I'm going to have you look at the different size pieces. So I want you to compare just 1/10. Now, if we're just looking at one of the pieces, 1/10, that's called a unit fraction. And then we're going to compare it to the size of the unit fraction 1/5. Which is larger, the 1/10 or the 1/5? Well, think about it this way. If you take this pentagon and you divide it into 10 pieces, these 10 pieces are going to be much smaller than if you took the same size pentagon and divide it into 5 pieces. If you only divide it by 5, of course, these pieces are going to be larger. Now, a lot of times kids get confused about fractions because they say, oh, 10 is the larger number. But 10 is not the number we're talking about. We're talking about taking one whole and dividing it by 10. So actually, the larger the denominator, the smaller the piece. You could also say the smaller the denominator, the larger the piece. So now I think that I'm ready to start typing my explanation. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this so that I have more room, the question details. And I'm going to click the typing tool, and it said to change the thickness. So I'm going to go for this 3rd thickness and see what that looks like. So I'm going to start saying that the unit fraction 1/5 is larger than the unit fraction 1/10. If we have, now if I press enter, I'm going to start writing over the picture. So what I want to do instead is I want to click in a new region. So I'm going to click down here and start typing. If we have the same number of each, do you see that we have 2 of each? We have 2/10 and 2/5. So if we have 2 of each, then the fifths will be larger. So basically the idea I'm saying is that if you have fifths and you have tenths, and you know that fifths is larger than tenths, and you have the same amount of each. Look, I have 2 of those pieces that are size 1/5, and I have 2 of the pieces that are the size 1/10. Well, the fifths total will be larger since each 1/5 is larger than each 1/10. So I'm going to move this so that they're a little bit closer together. And I hope that was some good practice for you with this typing tool.